3 ways all or nothing thinking could be holding you back. All or nothing thinking is kind of one of those socially acceptable labels that we give ourselves, and it sort of sounds like a positive, right? We're all in when we're all in. We're going, we get in there, we get it done, and we kind of smile and glorify the fact that we kind of glorify the all, and we forget that the bulk majority of our time ends up being spent in the nothing kind of part of that all or nothing discussion, which is really the reason why we get stuck a lot of the time when it comes to our health and wellness. I want to talk about 3 ways today that all or nothing thinking kind of shows up, because when we understand how it shows up for us and why our brain is doing it, because it is very much a protective mechanism, when we understand that, we can start to consciously make choices that fight back against that and kind of take a different path, and we can really start to see some really good outcomes with this. And I want to bring it up today because it's a really relevant discussion when it comes to weight loss, fitness, health and wellness, etc. Because a lot of us feel like we'll finally start to make progress when we find the perfect hack, or when we crack the code, or when we find that perfect plan. And so very often we're kind of on this mission to seek out information all the time. We're always kind of information gathering to try and finally get those results that we want with our health and wellness. But what I can tell you from having worked with thousands of clients now is that more information very rarely helps. And in fact, more information never helps if it's not consistently acted upon. And I bring this up because this is where coaching can actually be the game changer for whatever it is you're trying to work on, because most of us have enough information in our brain right now to completely transform our health. You've got access to enough information out there to completely transform your health and do whatever it is you want to do. The challenge is not finding the information. The challenge is consistently putting it into action. And that's really what coaching helps you to do. So I'm going to link our blueprint document below, and if you're watching on Facebook, you can just comment blueprint and we can send it out to you. It gives a little bit more information on how we work with clients. And honestly, the results that we see in the program primarily come down to the fact that coaches are supporting you to make these hard changes, and fight against this all or nothing kind of way of thinking, and realize that always something, as one of our coaches said, is better than all or nothing. Which brings us back to the all or nothing discussion, which is what we're here to talk about today. See, all or nothing thinking kind of sends us off with a hiss and a roar. We get that new piece of information that we think, this is it, I've found the magic thing, and we go off with a hiss and a roar only to fizzle out in time. We can't maintain the momentum, and so we fizzle out, and this happens again and again and again with all the different things that we try, right? And we kind of justify ourselves with the fact that, oh, I'm an all or nothing person, I can't stick to anything. And so let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at 3 ways that this shows up, and I think it's going to ping some light bulbs for you. It certainly does for me. I can recognize all of these in myself, so you're not alone. This is a really common scenario, and for a lot of our clients this would be exactly some things that probably ping for them as well. So all or nothing thinking, first up, it focuses on the short-term impact of the decision you're making rather than the longer-term cumulative effect, or say the bigger picture of the decision you're making in any given moment. I'll paint a scenario here, but that can really kind of help you see how this plays out. So imagine that you've planned your week out. Today's a workout day. The meeting that you have before your workout runs into your workout time, so you've only got half the time. All or nothing thinking in that moment says, well, you can't do the whole thing, so you might as well just skip it, because at the end of the day, if you don't work out today, you're not going to lose your gains and you're not going to put on a ton of weight. So just skip it. Do it tomorrow, or do it another time, or just leave it. All or nothing thinking is focused that in that moment, if you skip that workout because you don't have the time to do the whole thing, it's not really going to matter. And the truth is, it's actually not wrong. And this is why when it comes to mindset stuff and all that sort of stuff, is that there's a seed of truth in all of it. If you skip a workout, you're not going to lose your gains. If you skip a workout, you're not going to put on a ton of weight. But that's just in the moment. What happens tomorrow when you're busy again? And the next day when you're busy again? Which is going to happen, right? Because that's just life. And then what happens is we get down the track, because very quickly time passes and we realize that all those small little moments, when we justified that it doesn't matter in the moment, actually add up to quite a significant effect. And we realize that we've spent a lot of time and done nothing, and we're nowhere near where we thought we were going to be. So here's the switch for this one. Instead of thinking, well, it's not going to be perfect, so I might as well not do any of it. Instead of thinking that, think this situation is now not as ideal as I wanted it to be. That's part of life, but how can I make it the best for what it is? So maybe it's, you didn't get time to plan your food properly and you can't have all the perfect choices that you would have ultimately wanted for that meal. Or you can't do a full workout, or you can't quite get to bed on time because something's running a bit late. What's the best thing you can do in that situation? And looking at it that way, I think it challenges the all or nothing thinking, because it reminds us that doing something is better than doing nothing, and even a small thing that takes us forward is better than just waiting till tomorrow to do anything at all. The other thing it does is it reminds us that actually in this moment, when we could do the thing or not do the thing, we're still worth doing the thing for, no matter how different it looks to how we originally planned that thing to be. So kind of just pushing back on the fact that, yeah, sure, in this moment it doesn't matter, but multiple moments over a long period of time truly do. So how can we address that now? Another way that all or nothing thinking really shows up is that it's really leveraging the fact that our brains are wired to be a little bit lazy. Our brains are wired to seek the path of least resistance in everything we do. And this is actually a good thing. It sounds like a negative, but it's actually a really good thing because it conserves energy and ultimately it helps us to survive. But what the trouble is what that does is our brain is looking for the easiest option, which means ruling out the grey area is a better choice. It's black or it's white, it's this or it's that, it's one or the other, and it's not all that area in between, because that's too many choices to weigh up and consider, and it's all a little bit too hard. So when we are kind of breaking in a new habit or trying to do some new things that are taking us towards a new healthy version of who we want to be, there is a bit of an uphill battle, and that new habit formation is quite tricky. At the start, we've got all this motivation, all this energy, and so we're hitting it hard. And then once that starts to fizzle out, because motivation is transient and there will always be things that get in the way of maintaining that in the long term, we go to nothing. And we forget that there's all these other options of how we could have just slowed down or taken the pressure off ourselves a little bit, but still maintain forward momentum. So my pushback on this one for you is to think, what are the grey areas? Maybe we can't maintain that momentum we had to start with. Maybe something's come up and we've got to put a little bit more of our attention over here, and we don't have the same time or the same energy to dedicate to this. But there's more alternatives than just to stop and just to go back to the start. Maybe we just need to find the one thing we can continue doing and we can continue building on. And the more we do that and the more we consistently act on that habit, the easier and easier that habit becomes, until it just becomes part of what we do and we don't even need to think about it anymore. And then we can choose another one of those things in the grey zone of maybe it's not everything we were going to do, but it's also not none of what we were going to do. And it allows us to keep moving forward and allows us to push back on that. I'm either on or I'm off, and if I'm off, I just kick it down the road and restart again at a later date. Okay. So, and then the last one that I want to bring up here when it comes to all or nothing thinking, and this one gets a little bit personal to be perfectly honest, but it is that all or nothing thinking really allows ourselves to justify ourselves and let ourselves off the hook for the things we never really wanted to do in the first place. Ouch. It does hurt a little bit, but when we're truly honest with ourselves, habit change requires that we get out of our comfort zone a little bit. And it says, and all or nothing thinking sort of says, well, I can't do it perfectly right now, so I'll do it later. It looks like this. It looks like, I know I want to lose some weight, but it's Wednesday, so I'll start something on Monday. Wednesday's a perfectly good time to start as well, right? Thursday's a perfectly good time to start as well. Or it looks like I really want to change my exercise habits and start getting fit again, but it's winter and it's cold and it's dark. Perfectly good time to work out. Like, there's no reason why we can't, but we have this but it's not really perfect, so I'll wait. And so all or nothing thinking in that setting kind of holds us back from even getting started, which is a real problem. And so my thought process for you here, and this comes from one of our coaches actually, she shared this on a call yesterday and it was really, really cool and I liked it. And it's just a thought shift we can use, and that is, identify the thing you want to do. Maybe it's weight loss, maybe it's shaking up your fitness goals or whatever it is. Identify the thing and identify the but. There's always going to be a but, because change is, requires us to do something different. Change can be hard. So identify the but and really acknowledge the fact that there are things that are going to get in the way of this. And then identify the thing and ask, so what am I going to do? So let's look at this through the context of weight loss. We want to lose some weight, but it's not the best time. Maybe we're busy, maybe there's a whole lot of social events coming up, maybe it's the middle of the week, etc. But those things are there, so I'm going to start with. And what this allows us to do is it allows us to move away from just pushing it to the kind of perfect time that never exists, that means it will never get done. And it allows us to start with something now, because there's actually always something we can do as long as our head's in the right place if this is something that's really important for us. So let's kind of consolidate those three things, because it may not be that all of those show up for you, or it may be, but it may be that one of those really, really rings true for you. So the first one is that all or nothing thinking, it focuses on the short term, right? The short term does matter in the long term if we do it over and consistently, because change really comes from the things we can do consistently over a period of time. All or nothing thinking is part of our brain's lazy function, right? We want it to be black and white. It's easier if it's black and white because we don't have to focus on all the grey possibilities in between of other things we could do. And then all or nothing thinking really leverages the fact that our brain is trying to let us off the hook for the things that maybe it doesn't want to do, but maybe we know are actually good for us. So, like I said, this is a big part of coaching. Change to our health, fitness, and wellness is less often about more information and more often about application of the information we've already got. And really understanding how our brain is ticking and functioning and holding us back from doing these things can be the thing that really allows us to start kind of fighting back against those and making some changes in the long term. So comment blueprint below if you want to know how we can help you with that, and hopefully, if nothing else, this was just super interesting and lit off a few light bulbs for you as far as your health and wellness is concerned. Have a great day, guys. See ya.